Hey guys, K420 back at it again. I hope I'm not as slow as it looks like it is. Uh, Shout out to my daughter Sam for debugging my laptop so I could use that since the microphone to my desktop is not appropriate yet. So, as you can see by the title, sorry, I'm outside. You're probably gonna hear some traffic, guys. I hope it doesn't totally take over the video. Okay, or the dogs. That's why I'm outside. So let's start with the title. It's going to be a little controversial, but you know me. I'm the girl that spent night and day for what over 4.5 months fighting for justice for a girl that is no Kanika Jenkins who's not dead. So let's talk about it. First and foremost, let's talk about YouTube. YouTube is suppressing anyone who's not singing nursery rhymes or do-it-yourself videos. Please, 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 every video that I do that's on any trending topic is automatically demonetized, although they get their ad revenue, don't they? So if you want to help out, please hit me up on the Cash App. Oops, there we go. Sorry, I'm outside, so it might be a little slow. I want to talk about which Black Lives Matter. I want to talk about these protests, and I don't even so much care about the founders of Black Lives Matter. I care about the fact that every cent that's donated to them goes to the Democratic Party through Act Blue. It doesn't go to black communities. It doesn't go to black leaders. What I care about is why every single weekend on a Monday I find a new multifaceted problem, and there is not one simple solution here, but to start. How come every weekend, after a weekend, on a Monday morning, I can find, excuse me, I don't know where the camera is, but it'll get here sometime. I can find this, this type of headline about Chicago every single weekend. Headline, 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 after headline. Always innocent children caught in the mix, always multiple dead and even more injured. You're not coming out right now. Pardon me for 1 second. Not right now. Oh, sorry. I have a cat who thinks he's a dog. Okay. So anyway, I don't understand this camera thing. It says it's still recording, but I guess it's not recording on every page. Oh, wait a minute. No, where we're at. That's what's doing. What about now? Okay, anyway. So this was Father's Day weekend, was it? No, this was the weekend, but I believe after Father. I'm going to show you Father's Day weekend because Father's Day hit a record of like 100 shootings. But during this weekend, um, there was 3 children that were killed, and I believe one was 10. Yep, Lena Nunez, who was sitting in her apartment at 10 p.m. Saturday night when a stray bullet came through the window of 3500 block of Dickens Avenue in Logan Square. She was struck in the head while watching TV in the front room of her grandmother's apartment. Police believe 2 opposing gang members fired at each other outside the apartment. Nina's mother tells me her daughter was excited about starting 5th grade at Folston Elementary in the fall. She also says she loved TikTok and Starbucks. Her drinks of choice were caramel frappuccino and mango dragon fruit. The family in Hermosa and Lena lives in Hermosa, and Lena was the second of 5 children. So I don't want to go into the whole shooting, but then now there's another shooting. 17-year-old Antoine Douglas was shot and killed in Humboldt Park during a fight with someone in a large crowd, according to police. An 8-year-old girl was also shot while sitting on the couch in her home on 66th and Southwood in West Englewood. You cannot even be safe in your own freaking home. Yet people are marching in the streets over police brutality that the numbers don't add up. What happened to George Floyd was an absolute atrocity. But what's happening to these children, children and other African American adults, every single weekend at the hands of other African Americans in Chicago and other large cities, that to me is a way bigger problem. The numbers prove out. There was 9 unarmed black men shot, African Americans shot, period. Excuse me, women and men shot, period. In 2019, unarmed African Americans shot by police in 2019. 9. There was 19 whites. But because we have camera phones, and because one situation gets caught on camera and makes viral news and another doesn't, we're tricked to believe that there's some systemic issue going on when the systemic issue is this right here. Children dying at the hands of other African Americans fighting in gangs. These children are in their homes. They're not out roaming the streets. They're not out doing something wrong. Last weekend, Chicago saw last weekend was the weekend after Father's Day. So just after having this weekend of shooting, listen to this. Last weekend, Chicago saw the worst gun violence of the year. 106 people were shot, including 3-year-old Mekhi James and 13-year-old Mariah Jones, both who were killed. After seeing a record number of 106 people shot just 7 days before, another, how many? 47 injured and 16 dead. So, another 63 people the next weekend. Obviously, there wasn't anything at all learned from these young children's deaths. Obviously, these kids died in vain then. These children who were safe in their homes watching TV on grandma's couch. But Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I think this is Father's Day weekend, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry about the slowness, guys. I'm sitting outside. Come on. Had to load it. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. Come on. Well, I may just skip it if it doesn't open up soon. Sorry. Come back to it. Okay. Let's go up here. On a weekend that saw a 3-year-old and 14s killed in Chicago, Superintendent Brown says violent offenders are not being monitored. There's the camera. And methods must change. At least 13 dead, but this is the weekend after Father's Day. At least 13 dead and 103 shot altogether.
Disturbing and heartbreaking Father's Day weekend in Chicago with 102 shootings.
Camera comes back. This goes crazy.
13 deaths. The violent morning, a 16-year-old.
Not gonna work.
In a drive-by shooting.
I can read it to you. Cat is going crazy. And no, it's not a girl. It's a boy cat who thinks he's a dog and wants to come outside and be hooked up on his leash, but he doesn't have his harness on. A violent weekend in Chicago saw 13 people, including 4 teenagers and a 3-year-old boy, killed. Chicago Police Department Superintendent David Brown said that violent offenders need to be kept in jail longer and that home monitoring needs to be revamped because it's not working. 103 people were shot this weekend, and 12 of them were minors. 5 of them were children, and teens did not survive. In the first deadly incident involving young people this weekend, 2 teenage boys were killed in a shooting around 5:10 p.m. in the 700 block of 7900 block of Luella in South Chicago. The boys, aged 16 and 17, were in the alley when a man walked up, took out a gun, shot both of them. The older boy was shot in the back of the chest and the left hand. The younger boy was shot in the back of the left flank. Both taken to the University of Chicago, where they pronounced dead. Older boy was identified as Jay-Sean Francis, and younger boy has not yet been identified. Black Lives Matter. Didn't hear those names. Row, row. You're not coming out, Mister. No. Sorry, I'm trying to anyway. The individuals were with their friend. They had just gone to the mall. They know the neighborhood. They don't ever go out to the neighborhood because it's so dangerous. But on that one occasion, the boys asked if they could once go down to the store and buy some candy. And when they almost were back to the gateway of their home, a gunman ran up and shot and killed them for no reason, Detective Brendan Deanahan said. Police have identified the suspect in the South Chicago shooting. They say he was wearing a black Puma hooded sweatshirt, ripped faded jeans, and was wearing one shoe on the left foot and a black sock on his injured right foot. Police are looking for this man in the shooting that killed 2 teens. Take a good look at him, guys. On 7900 block of South Luella Avenue on Saturday, June 20th. There he is. And here's him with the mask off. And there he is running from the teens that he just killed, probably. If you recognize him, call 312-747-8271 because Black Lives Matter. Let's talk about Mekhi James 3, shot in the back at 6:30 p.m. Saturday, 600 block of North Central Avenue at Huron Street, and later died. The boy's stepfather, now this was Father's Day weekend, mind you, was driving south when someone in a blue Honda fired shots at his sport utility vehicle. The stepfather, who was believed to be the target of the shooting, suffered a graze wound to the abdomen and drove to the West Suburban Medical Center in Oak Park. Mekhi was later pronounced dead at the same hospital. There is Mekhi. Mekhi James. Black Lives Matter. Look at him getting his little line up. Oh my God, look at that face. Oh, I can't. I know why the distraction is being put on this police brutality narrative rather than facing this right here. Because if I had to face the fact that I was slaughtering my own community, children in my community, that people like me were slaughtering each other in my own community, I'd be highly not wanting to touch that subject either. But guess what? I believe that if you're gonna put something out there as powerful as a statement of Black Lives Matter, and then put behind it what was the original definition, which meant, it's changed so many times now. Now it means defund the police. What are you talking about? originally hashtag Black Lives Matter was, anyway, it's not my place to put what, everyone knows what it was originally. And it's been co-opted, it's been corrupted, incorporated. Let's talk about a few blocks away from where the shooting of Mackay was at 8:36, just 6 minutes later. Amaria Jones was struck by gunfire inside her own home. Again, 3 young ladies killed inside their own home, not walking the streets at night doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. In their home at 8:30 at night, being a child, watching a movie, getting ready to go to bed. Slaughtered. Never even knew it was coming. Stray bullet through the wall of the house, window, whatever. Okay. 2 teenage boys were sitting on the porch when another man saw a red laser light pointed at him and heard multiple gunshots, police said. The boys, aged 15 and 16, were outside and Amari was inside the home when all were shot, police said. So the 2 teenage boys sitting outside and Amari inside her home were shot. And it seems like the boys outside were the target and she caught a stray bullet in the house. A 16-year-old boy was shot in the left leg and was taken to Mount Sinai in good condition, and a 15 boy was shot in the lower back and taken to the same hospital in good condition. Oh, I'm glad they're in good condition, because if there's anything to say, they're gonna be saying it because they're pressing them. Amari was shot in the right side of the neck and taken to the Stroger Hospital, where she in critical condition and died about a half hour later. She was watching television when shots rang out, striking her in the back, and died 30 minutes later. As a child growing up in the environment that these children are growing up in, how do you think they feel just sitting for 1 second in the same spot in their own fucking homes? They are looking over their shoulder and listening to what's going on outside, and they are fearful of what could come through the walls or windows and take their life in their own effing homes, yo. And you all want to talk about the very, very small, minute statistic of police brutality when you are slaughtering your own your own communities. Okay, let's it says, I put myself in that house holding that little girl as she struggles to breathe. I put myself in the hospital, Dina Hinn said. There's a gang battle going on in the area, and you had a coward basically come through the gangway and shoot a bunch of people on a porch. Brown said underlying issue is violent criminals are free on home monitoring when nobody is monitoring them. No one should be able to walk away from killing a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old without consequences. Let's keep violent offenders in jail longer. I agree. He implored everyone to call 911 if they see a suspicious person, or cpdtip.com for if you have any information. For God's sake, help Chicago's cops protect our precious children and our families. It's not working. Home monitoring is not working. No one is monitoring who's on home monitoring. chief of police said. Sorry. Tractor. Okay. We're here today as hurting fathers, hurting parents, fed up black men, said Reverend Ira Acree. Acree took particular issue with Makai's death. A 3-year-old was gunned down, he said. A line was crossed. Acree raised issues of social justice. It would be an ultimate contradiction to march for justice for George Floyd and not say a word about a 3-year-old who cannot defend himself or speak for himself, he said. Do not miss the point. We say Black Lives Matter. Well, Black babies' lives matter more. Don't get me going on that. More Black babies are aborted in New York every year for the last, I think, 10, maybe even 15 years, than are born alive. Do you know what the population of African Americans would be if not for abortion? Another thing that, was put out there as a trap for them. Anyhow, we'll do that in another video. Superintendent Brown emphasized that added the tragedy of being Father's Day. A number of Chicagoans will be spending Father's Day grieving their loss of their children. Come on. All right, let me let this load real quick. There's nothing quick about this. Okay, let's talk about numbers, statistics. Okay, in Chicago this year, 1,508 people have been shot. That's already 350 more people than this time in 2019. So at the rate this is going, April, May, yeah. So we're into the second quarter. So, but at the rate this is going, if we keep adding 300 every quarter, at the end of the year, this number will be almost doubled. It'll be at 27 to 2,800. Yeah, that's pretty freaking scary. That's a heck of a lot more people than numbers of unarmed black men who have been killed by police. And I can tell you, talks about, when the times when the homicides pick up or whatever, whether they're shootings, whether they're fatal or non-fatal. So you can tell like that. But there you go. I wanted to come down here because it doesn't say the races of them, I don't believe. It may, let's see if I click on them if it does. No. It just goes through and tells you the date, the time, age, and the sex. I want you to start looking at this. I mean, this is all one day, guys. June 22nd. I'm going to scroll down until it's not June 22nd. Okay, so right here stops June 22nd. All those were in one day. 15, 18, 22, 27, 21, 34, 36, 27, 30, 21, 24, 26, 30. 32, 24, 16. These are, I'm sorry to say this, but I guarantee you most of these are African Americans. 30, 31, 23, 24, 41, 24, 30, 27, and 25. I guarantee you that if you look these up, 80% of them are going to be African Americans that are killed. Because I can tell you that because of the age, because they're not dying of natural. These aren't people who died of natural causes, and it seems to be that between the ages of like 16 and 40 is right where this whole fire is building up, and so this lack of they don't see anything out there that's worth the fight. And like, I remember having a reason to want to keep going at that age, there was always something more. But right now with coronavirus, them not being in school, this is like, many of them just graduated without graduating, which is like someone who spent 13 years in school. That's got to be highly confusing. Colleges are no longer like they were. They don't. Most kids don't even know what's going on for next year for college yet. There's an entire generation of disappointed, let down, hurt, misunderstood men and women and etc. And they just don't appreciate the gift of life anymore. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it's how I feel. There's just no appreciation left for life. Theirs or anyone else's. It's almost as if they truly believe that we're living in hell already. All right, let's check something out. Things only get worse, guys. I hate to say it. Washington Examiner, 1-year-old boy shot and killed in Chicago drive-by. This was a week after everything I just talked to you about. Everything we just talked about was on June 22nd. This was 6 days later.
This is AP News Minute. Mississippi lawmakers could vote in the next few days to remove the Confederate battle emblem from the state flag. The symbol has come under criticism in recent weeks amid nationwide protests against racial injustice. Republican Governor Ted Reeves said for the first time on Saturday he would sign a bill to change the flag if the legislature passes one. Hundreds of Jordanians protested in Tehran on Saturday against Israel's plan to
Okay.
next.
No.
Mississippi lawmakers.
You brat. No. Okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was a video about this. All right. Now I got to read it. All right, guys. Here we go again. Toddler died after he and his mother were shot while driving home from the laundromat. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? 22-year-old mother was driving home with her 20-month-old son. Sorry. With her 20-month-old son on Saturday when an unidentified assailant pulled up, fired 7 or 8 shots into the car, according to the Chicago Chief of Operations, Fred Waller. The child was shot in the chest and a bullet grazed the head of the mother. The toddler was pronounced dead at a local hospital. This is happening far too often. Too many times children are killed by senseless violence, said Fred Waller. And not only are just children, but grown-ups also. When is this going to stop? When are we going to say enough is enough? When people realize that the Black lives that matter are right here. I'm not saying that there isn't police brutality that needs to be addressed. But in the order of priorities, this needs to be addressed first. Where are the protests against the people who are slaughtering each other? Where are the protests against the gangs? Where are the protests against the way they've got the housing set up, so that the poorest people live in the shittiest of neighborhoods? We're the protest against the schools who have failed these children time and time and time again. Only for them to be shot while sitting home watching Scooby fucking Doo on the couch is Saturday night, 8 minutes before bedtime. Police are searching for a handgun used in the shooting. They're working to recover video footage from a security camera and made an appeal for witnesses. Over 100 people. This was the weekend of Father's Day. God damn it. This was also Father's Day weekend. President Trump criticized Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for handling the violence in Chicago and called on Democrats to establish law and order. No doubt we'll catch the person who did it. We'll catch the person that killed that 3-year-old. We'll catch the person that killed this kid, Waller told reporters. But that's not going to bring the kid back, and that's not going to satisfy the family. Can I just say something? I thought Chicago was known for having like the biggest number of unsolved murders. So that statement right there is kind of a crock of shit. All right, next. Going. We're almost there. 12-year-old shot while playing on the sidewalk in West Englewood. Same weekend, June 25th. June 25th. 12-year-old girl shot while playing on the sidewalk. Can you picture that? 12-year-old girl draws a hopscotch board on the sidewalk, her and her friends. And they're hopping along, throwing their rock, playing hopscotch on the sidewalk. And bang, dead. That's it. Bang, dead. Bang, dead. The safest place our kids can be is at home, we thought. Not in Chicago. Because in Chicago, black lives don't matter. Black lives don't matter to black people. Black lives don't matter to white people. Black lives don't matter to Asian people. Black lives don't matter to anyone. Because if they did, people would not be putting up with this. There would be night patrols made up of in communities made up of neighbors, not of armed neighbors who are legally armed. But of course, this is Chicago where you can't carry a gun, can't even go to a gun store anywhere in the fucking state. I don't know. All I know, she was playing on a sidewalk, shots were fired, grazed by a bullet in the lower back, taken. Okay, this girl, all right, this one, she was shot, but she did not die. Does that make a difference? I just wanted to correct myself. I just got so used to saying they were dead, dead, dead. But does this make a difference? A 12-year-old girl was playing on her sidewalk and was shot and had to go traumatically to a hospital and have a bullet pulled out of her back, her lower back, and who knows how close it was to her not walking. And a 3-year-old was also grazed in the lower back this week in Chicago lawn. It happens to say right here. A witness told investigators a white SUV pulled up and someone started shooting. It's unclear who the intended target. Bullets also hit a car that was parked nearby. Chicago police are still investigating, but no one has been arrested so far this week. And at least 4 children have been shot this week. That was this week, the week of the 25th. Let's talk about another place other than just rate. Now, I've got my point across to you about Chicago. Let's talk about something else. Most of you have probably heard along the way that this lovely Black Lives Matter protest mixed with some other indigenous people and whatnot came together, and they basically cordoned off 6 blocks of Seattle and created their own autonomous zone, running out the police with the permission of the mayor. And for weeks now, they basically have been running wild. It's been a drug fueled. There's been rapes. There's been assaults, thefts, robberies, um, multiple shootings, multiple shootings. But this is supposed to be an area where police are not needed because police kill black people. This is the narrative. So therefore, they have a security group that's made up of the Black Lives Matter protesters who are legally armed with AR-15s and AKs. However, and this is the chief of police who was originally ran out for after 2 weeks of battling these protesters, the mayor made her step down, and made them pack up and leave the police precinct and turn it over to the protesters, basically. I don't know why that just happened, but anyhow, today, as you know, they've taken it back over, but in the meantime, a 16-year-old boy was killed and a 14-year-old boy was wounded early Monday morning when they were shot on 12th Avenue and East Pike Street in a protest area known as CHOP in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. The shooting amplified calls to bring law enforcement back to the East Precinct and shut down CHOP. Though protesters say the violence isn't connected to the movement and they still won't leave until their demands are met. Oh, shit, there we go. Yeah, that was a whole clusterfuck that was. It says Monday's gun violence marked the second fatal shooting of a teenager in that area in a little over a week. Mind you, that's a 6-block radius that's all cordoned off. Wait till I tell you what happened during the first shooting. Hold on. Monday's fatal shooting also raised concerns from protesters and black clergy members alike about the city's response to the protest zone, with debates about what should be done next erupting in the morning near the scene. CHOP stands for Capitol Hill Organized Protest. Demonstrators have occupied several blocks of the police department's East Precinct and Cal Anderson Park for about 3 weeks, since police left the precinct following standoffs and clashes with protesters calling for racial justice to end to police brutality. Jesus. You know, these fucking fake news bullshit, just stop trying to feed me a word fucking casserole and tell the fucking truth. These were drugged up, crazy, with obviously none of them had jobs because all they did was camp and lay around there for weeks and get high and take over, scare people who lived in the 6-block radius, take things that weren't theirs when they ran out of stuff, shit anywhere because for the first week there was no porta potties. The mayor had to literally bring in porta potties to stop people from shitting in public. That must be like a new generation thing, like a Generation X or Z or something, because I'm telling you, there's a whole lot of pooping in public going on now. Anyway, let's get back to the serious stuff, okay? At 5:40 a.m. Monday, this is the one I was trying to explain to you guys about, okay? This is where the white SUV drove into the 6-block radius, and a member of Black Lives Matter, he was a security member for CHOP, but he was originally a member of the Black Lives Matter group. He sticks with them all the time, whatever. He came up and he put his gun in the window of this 16 and 14-year-old boy and shot them. Shot. I don't know if shot them, shot him, shot. And the kids driving punched the gas, but then slammed on the brakes so they didn't hit anybody. And because they slammed on the brakes, dude came up again and shot again into the car. So he had a chance to shoot twice into the car, and he killed the 16-year-old and put the 14-year-old in ICU. That's easier than reading that whole paragraph they put, because I know that part. 2 African American men are dead at a place where they claim to be working for Black Lives Matter, but they're gone. They're dead now. That's Police Chief Carmen Best. Enough is enough, she said. Best is now is referring to Monday's slaying as well as June 20th's fatal shooting of Anderson. Police initially said the person who was in Monday, me. Hang on a second. Monday, an adult was later corrected. Boy, that has a terrible glare, guys. Seattle police initially said the person who was killed Monday was an adult, but later corrected that to 16 years old. Okay. We need to be able to get back into the area, Best said about the protest zone and surrounding blocks. What they did today is an update. All right, let's see. Come on. There's that. Now I want just one more thing. I want to show you what happened when an African American was shot in that autonomous zone. So this is the Seattle response to the shooting scene on body cam footage. Okay, during the first shooting that took place, all of the protesters got together and linked arms and would not allow the police to come in. They started getting violent and throwing things. Then they would not allow the ambulance workers to come in and check on the victim. They said, "We are going to take him to the hospital ourselves." They said, "Holy cow, it's bright out." Close. Come on, close. Come on, we can always get this man. It's bright out, guys. Okay, so let's see if I can show you this really quick. Anyway, there's rumor has it that this 19-year-old, I didn't mean to do that. This 19-year-old boy would be alive had not the protesters not kept the ambulance and the police away from him as long as they did. And by the time the personal ride got him to the hospital, they did not give him an ID. They did not IV. Excuse me. They did not. We were not able to stop bleeding, and so on and so forth. So it says that. Oh, hang on. Truck's leaving now. Now watch this whole thing.
There you go. I'll take the other one. Police move out of the way so we can get to the victim. All we're trying to do is get to the victim and find the name.
All they're trying to do is get to the victim.
Saturday morning, but as body cam clearly saying, please let us through. We just want to get to the front.
So it very well could be the Seattle police mustered their forces outside of the zone until they had the appropriate.
I was trying to play this one, but this one won't play either now. Okay. Well, I give up. I'm not gonna try anymore on that. But you guys get the hint, right? If you've watched any videos from CHOP, then you know that they had armed security, and you've also seen the incidents where shooting took place. And remember the girl that had got the ricochet shot, got her in the leg, and she laid right there on the ground. And so she was a medic, and she started doing all her own first aid. Because once you're in that autonomous zone, as they call it in the beginning, which is actually illegal, which that's why they had to change the name to CHOP, because if they called it the autonomous zone, then technically they were invading our country, and constitutionally we could send in troops to take them out. So, because it would be called insurrection. All right, guys, I'm gonna ask you a question. After watching all this, after everything we just talked about, when CNN comes up with another video of a police officer doing something, I'm not saying George Floyd wasn't killed, murdered. And what I'm saying is that the amount of black men that are murdered by police every year is literally not a double digit. Every weekend in Chicago, double and triple digit black men and women are being slaughtered by their own people. And if black lives really matter, shouldn't we be talking about that? That's all. If you guys like this video, please share it, because that'll get me, it'll get me more views up in the trending, blah blah blah. Please subscribe. I need more subscribers. If I don't start getting more subscribers, they're not ever gonna let. I've been stuck right at 11,000. I'm thinking about maybe doing some type of a live event where to bring in some more subscribers now that I have both computers fixed. But in the meantime, if you want to support my channel, again, here's my Cash App. Please hook it up. I really appreciate it. Donations are so welcome right now because everything is being demonetized, if not completely torn down by YouTube. So everybody have a great day. And remember, black lives do matter, but don't all of them?